Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your weekly source for all things Final Fantasy TCG.
Literally painting your cards to have to play them. Imagine if that was the world we lived in.
That would be the absolute worst. It's like the only thing, unless the starter decks came with like colored pencils and like a paint by numbers kind of thing. But you know what isn't paint by numbers, Austin Archer?
What is that?
The next episode, the 25th episode.
Whoa.
That's right, of the RVA Returners Podcast. Folks, welcome back. I am your host, Chris Adams. With me, as always, is Adam Lane. And as I spoiled at the top of this cast, we've got another one of the returner ilk with us.
Yes, sir.
Austin Archer. Austin, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So we've got a few things to talk about. I know we initially last week said we were going to do like a recap, kind of taking from the Crystal Tower, you know, what they did. But we're going to switch it up because we just played an event today. We're pretty tired, and there's a lot more to that. We don't want to kind of fly by night this thing. Either.
Also, we have our community day, and it just feels like a better time to do it is next week.
Exactly. Yeah, we have our community day, as he just said, our community day next week. And what better way to kind of cap off a community day than kind of talking about how we became a part of this, community. But we don't want to dive too deep into that. There's something we like to do on this podcast. I'm sure you've heard, Austin, because you've been on here before. The news. That's right. All right. So first bit of news, Opus 7 spoilers are now back in full effect.
They're popping up.
Yeah, we got a good amount.
We got a lot. Now, granted, we did record last Saturday, so some other people have already covered, but there's no reason we can't put the hot take on them as well. So, Adam, go ahead and start reading off the first one.
So I'll start with the first one. So it's Soul. He's a 2CP fire forward, 5K. Job Warrior of Light. If you control a Job Warrior of Light other than Soul gains plus 2,000 power and haste.
Card's good, and it's the job that really makes him really over the top, I think, because the fact that he's going to end up being an 8K with haste that is going to take 2K less damage when you have the right board set up. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, rarely is he just going to be a 7K with haste, even though that's what his card says he's going to be. Like, you're probably going to have another Warrior of Light out. I mean, maybe the only time he's at 7K with haste is if your only other Warrior of Light is the light one.
Exactly. So I think he's really, really good. I think
for 2 CP.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Yeah.
And Warrior of Light don't really have access to haste right now, so this gives them a haste activator, which can be scary. So
it's true. So I think that card's really, really good, and obviously the Warrior of Light shells. That's just a fine addition, and with the new Barts and that, that forward lineup is looking really, really good.
Yep. And then the next card is 2CP, a new 2CP Tama.
Yeah.
For 1 Earth and tap break, choose a category WAF card in your break zone, add to your hand. So WAF's not that good right now. Just in general. Tama has good cards. So I guess you could use this Tama to get back another Tama. It doesn't say you can't do that.
Kind of an inception maneuver there, but I feel like that's loose.
You're spinning the needle a lot.
But she's already a one of most of the time when either if you run the old 2CP or the 7CP. So you probably don't really care much about recurring her, and also Minfilia gets it back too.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe at some point down the road something really cool will be done with that, but right now...
Title is probably fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know what's going to be spoiled with the set with that, but...
I assume there's going to be more WAF cards.
Yeah, I agree. So right now, I'm gonna reserve my opinions on that one, because who knows?
We'll mulligan this one.
We're gonna mull this one. We're gonna call this segment The Mulligan.
And then this card is interesting. It's a 1 CP water backup that's not generic.
I love that.
So it's Yagrash. He already has another card, but I like this one a lot. So when he enters the field, choose a backup you control other than Yagrash, return it to its owner's hand.
I think it's really good. It's pretty absurd for the cost because we have a backup that does this already in Mion, right? But
Mion does draw you a card,
right? But on the flip side of this, you can grab this off of Sid 2.
Yep,
because it's a 1 CP backup, which I think is huge. Now, do you think we see a cycle of these
possible.
1 CP backups in every element? I think that would be pretty insane because it's more fuel for that Sid 2 engine, and I think it has a really good effect. Solid card all across the board.
Yeah, I think it's good. Makes me want to play Water Earth monsters again.
Well, I think that's a card that assuming this is the only one, I think it replaces the Evokers and the deck because
maybe.
you can get more value. You know, say you dropped a I don't know, trying to think of a backup, maybe like the Chime. Like I was playing Chime,
Web.
like Merle Web. You know, being able to double up on those backups seems really good for the cost of one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the card's real good.
So next up, we got a card that people went kind of crazy over, and I'm pretty sure this is a rare. I think I think that I'm correct on that.
Playable, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's X Death, 6 CP. Don't think like I did. This isn't a forward. It's a backup.
It's
I
a
thought
backup.
when I first saw that, it was like, oh, this is gonna be busted because it's a forward.
I think it still might be busted.
It is really good.
It's pretty strong.
When he enters the field, choose a forward in either player's break zone. If it costs equal to or less than the number of backups you control, play it onto the field.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. This card is insane. Yeah, is it fairly costed at 6? No, it is not.
I think it's fairly costed at 6.
That thing needs to cost like
So-
7.
So you're not really gonna.
Well,
But it's permakeep. It is permakeep.
It is perma keep, but like you're not. It's perma keep until something else happens. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Because like if you
Yeah.
Leviathan, it goes back to their hand.
Sure.
But like you're not really gonna pull 5 CPs with this because, well, you could, but if someone blows you out trying to do that, like if they hackathon a backup,
Sure.
and if then this fizzles, you just paid 6 CP to do nothing,
yeah.
Yep.
and that feels really bad.
But I think with these slew of super powerful 4-drops that exist.
Oh, you're gonna get a 4. If this is your 5th backup, you're gonna get a 4-drop like every time.
Yep.
And it's really going to depend on what you can get off that.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being a good, like, 1 or 2 of in a lot of decks.
I think what this is going to do most of the time, and I'm not saying, like, this is still really good. Most of the time, I think this is going to come down, and you're going to put Zemus back into play.
Yeah.
More times than not.
Yeah.
I
that's
think that
what-
seems
Makes
really
green
good.
mage or white mage that much more fancy too.
Yep.
But it does make lightning more top end heavy.
Sure,
Like,
with the Adeas now, and they still run the Odins, they still run
Yeah.
even now the backup Adea, that fast backup line is starting to slow down a little bit. I think that card's fantastic, and I think you start seeing, lightning has kind of been an element that you don't really see it splashed all that much. Now I could start seeing it splash in maybe some more control-y kind of shells, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, this makes me want to run a splash deck too. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, I'm going to play Lightning Earth. And I wasn't even thinking about the next card when I saw this card. But now that I see the next card, it makes me want to play Lightning Earth even more.
Yep. So moving on to
So the next card is the second legendary they've shown.
yes, the second legendary.
Yeah. So it's 5 CP, Earth, Galif. He's 9K. So he's already doing good.
Yep, he's already on curve. He's a Dawn Warrior.
And he's got text. So
man,
Yeah.
An
old
so
man with text.
the first line of text is he can't be broken during your turn.
amazing.
Second line of text is an auto. So when he attacks, choose a forward. If you pay, you may pay 2 Earth. If you do, it must block Galif if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has an S for just S. Choose 2 forwards. They can't attack this turn.
I think this card is extremely powerful. Granted, I understand the thing that he's a 5 CP do nothing on the turn he comes out, but a lot of cards are.
But Zemus is a 4 CP do nothing that you're going to have to pay more of CP
Right.
into the next
But,
turn to do something.
that
But still,
that
like,
doesn't deter people from playing him.
Yeah.
And also, the turn he comes out, like think about it. The turn he comes out, you could play him for free with Star Sybil. You're going to play him for free off of a Kelgar.
Yep.
And then you can start Hecaton chair and shit. You can
And
start
you don't care
and you
who's
don't
fighting.
care because then if that guy lives to the next turn,
Oh yeah.
something's dead. That guy has 2 mana, kill a guy. He's dumb. I think this card is really, really powerful. And granted, yes, the top end of Earth has become pretty crowded with Yang and Cecil. I think this
this
guy
replaces
has
Yang, though.
scrapped
I think so
his way
too.
to the top.
I think I think when I first saw this card, the first thing I said was, "There's a lot of 5 CP Earth guys that are good." And when you start building an Earth deck, you're just like, which one am I gonna pick, right?
Yep.
Yang kind of fell off in favor of Cecil right now because of he's better against aggressive decks and stuff. So you see more dark Paladin Cecil or Dark Knight Cecil. This guy I think is probably stronger than Dark Knight Cecil for a different reason. I don't think Dark Knight Cecil is gonna stop seeing play.
No, because the guy's a burst. That guy's
Yeah.
killing something.
But I do think this is might be the best Earth 5 CP.
Yeah.
Um,
And then now, one of the things that, we mentioned Kelgar, the whole Dawn Warrior thing. I think now you can see a non-Scion Lightning Earth.
I agree.
Yeah.
Or what's to say you can't slap those 2 cards into a Scion deck?
You could. You
Granted,
could.
it's getting tight there,
Yeah.
but we're not saying you could.
To
That
me-
guy's good.
Yeah, to me, his power level reminds me of a Stenian.
Very much so. I think he's an excellent card.
But Astinian has the potential to have haste. I guess that's the big thing. Like, Astinian can do something the turn he comes out.
Right. And then
but Gallo can too.
He
can't be broken that turn. So again, if you're able to play it in, again, and doing any other stuff.
I'm just saying the power level reminds me of like Astinian.
And the good thing about him too, and I don't want to, we don't want to spend too much. We got a few more spoilers to go, but I think one of the big things with him is that he kind of eliminates combat tricks. Like, he's coming in. If you've got forwards on the board, chances are 2 of them are going to die because he's going to force one to block him, and then he's going to Hecaton chair another one.
Yep.
This guy is just a 2-for-1 machine, and I think he is a fantastic card. But we'll see where it goes. And speaking of fantastic cards, we're going to move right into the next one here.
So it's we got 2 new monsters. And they're interesting because they have a new thing that no monsters doing.
A 0 CP effect, essentially. Yeah.
So they have discard effects. So the first one's Coral. It's a 2 CP lightning monster.
It's that cat. It's that damn cat that Adam Duncan was talking about.
That's Adam Duncan's cat right there.
Yeah, put it into the break zone. Choose a forward. It gains 3,000 power. Haste, First Strike, Brave.
That's pretty bonkers.
Then its second ability is discard it from your hand. Choose a monster that costs 1. Break it. You can only use this ability if Coral's in your hand, obviously.
I think this card is excellent. Now, what it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember a card from the old Verse System game, Makata and Mosha.
I do. Yep.
There was a 1-drop that you could just discard from your hand to kill another 1-drop. That's what that card reminds me of. But you could also play it and have it still be a dude. Same thing. You get a monster that comes into play, has a normal monster effect, but when it's in your hand, it's still not dead. That thing might as well just say, kill target Layart, kill target Cactar.
Yep, that's basically what it's going to try to kill.
So the question that I have is, though, can you discard that card to Mono Ice, discard, and still get an effect?
No, because I think you're essentially forced to discard to that ability. You're stacking that ability by discarding that card.
So
you can't technically pay
extra
for
discard.
If it was like your last card, you could respond and discard, assuming that you have a legal monster target.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the only legal target you're going to have is Flan.
Yeah.
But I think
because we're seeing this discard ability in not just this one, but in other ones that can potentially do other things, which we'll talk about shortly.
Sure.
Wanted to clarify to see if that was going to be a thing. If we broke the rules.
Well, who knows? There could be one that when you discard it, you may be able to put it in play as a forward. You never know. You never know. But I think this one's really going to shine in Scions.
I think it's disgusting in Scions. It's an Urianger target.
Which he will always be able to get
on color. That's going to make your guys bigger and give them a shit ton of keywords.
Yep. And now he does. And then now you can just not worry about stuff like Cactar and Layak and just keep coming right.
This might be the best monster for Scions. I feel like they're running Musushu and Dragon right now, which is decent removal, but it's kind of slow.
Yeah. I think Corel at least replaces some of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 2 CP summon, technically speaking, that gives you 3k and 3 keywords.
Yep. And I think
a 13k Ida.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really cool about that card is if this game ever came down to sideboards, I feel like that would be
that's a sideboard.
That would be like the Macabre Fairy or Fairy Macabre, but it's literally just discard because you bring that in against the Earthwind matchup to kill their Cactar. So really good card.
Yeah. So there's 4 of these monsters. So they showed 2 and then they showed 2 more today.
Yep.
So the second one is Bomb. So 2 CP fire monster. Put it into the break zone, choose a forward, deal it 3k, and then deal 2,000 to all other forwards opponent controls. And then you may discard Bomb, choose a forward, deal it 2k. You can only use the ability of bombs in your hand.
I like it. I wish it was a little bit. I wish it was. I mean, granted, I think if it's up, they add an additional K to that. I think it becomes incredibly bonkers.
It invalidates cards if you do that too.
Yeah. So I think it's fine the way it is. It is a nice blanket damage effect for, it's a good combo piece essentially.
Yeah. Also, I like to think of these like 0 CP summons, kind of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of what they are.
Except it's extra ping damage at the end.
Except they're not summons; they're action abilities.
Yeah.
That is one thing to note.
Which means you can't target Zidane with them. So.
Yep.
So sucks to suck there, but I think these cards are neat. I think the ones we've seen so far are fantastic, and we're gonna do we want to do the monster first or
which one?
The next card is the blue one. Sahagan, that's another one.
No, they're all these. Oh, yeah, it's a backup. I guess. Yeah. So we'll do the other monster first. So, do Sahagan, 2 CP water monster. Put in the break zone. Choose 2 forwards you control. Activate them. Give them 1,000 power. Until end of turn.
Pretty good.
Discard Sahagan. Choose a forward of cost 1. Return it to its owner's hand. You can only use the ability if Sahagan's in your hand.
Outside of Snow, are there really any 1-cost forwards?
Viking.
Yeah, the 1 CP Viking, which does see some play, but not as much as like the 3 CP one. But
I was thinking maybe like Leo.
Leo is a 1 CP,
Like-
right?
And both Leos actually, like Wind Leo.
Oh,
and,
Leon, and
Leon,
Leo.
yeah.
So maybe turns out there are more 1 CP
There's a
fours than I
couple,
thought.
but it is definitely pretty narrow.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna see some potential value in
Yep.
that right now.
I think that becomes a good card in Mono Water Monsters.
It's
Yeah,
also
it's
just a mini
pretty-
Ash.
It's pretty decent. Yeah.
I mean, it's a mini Ash
It
special.
helps against ice.
Yep, helps against ice, and being able now you can swing with Gal and have that thing on the table and be like, well, you don't really get that free attack like you thought you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think the card's good.
Yeah, and then the next one's a new backup. It's a 2 CP Lightning backup, Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy Legends. Argy. I don't know.
Argy.
When it's put from the field to the break zone,
bad dog
select
name.
one of the 3 actions. So it has to be broken for this to happen.
Yep.
So it's like Lulu.
Yep.
Choose one forward, it gains haste until end of turn. Choose one forward, activate it. Choose one backup of cost 1 in your break zone, play it onto the field.
I think this card's really neat. We can kind of see a theme so far with some of these spoilers. They're really looking at like breaking backups, returning a lot of backup manipulation. I think it's the beginning of maybe a lot more control-y type shells or super heavy mid-rangey shells. I think the card's good. In what capacity? I don't know yet because clearly, we haven't seen everything. But right now, there aren't a lot of options that break your own backups.
Yep.
Maybe Fire Lightning with like Furion or
With the new Lulu.
New Lulu. I
Mystic,
think that's the
technically.
big thing. I think Lulu is the one that everybody's kind of zeroed in on for
Or
this one.
that Opus 6 Kuja.
Yeah.
You're pulling back another.
Oh, he has to be ice backups.
Yeah, he has to
though.
break ice
Kuja
backups.
specifically,
That's
which
right.
is a shame.
Oh, that's the only reason why I got those foil Goombas.
There it is.
Curtis was playing with Ice Lightning the other day. He had Goombas in there.
Oh, Goomba Lulu is good. But no, I like the direction this set's going. Some fresh mechanics, some really powerful legendaries. I'll say that again. I think the Bartz is really good. I think the Galif is really good, and even Soul, who's a heroic, I think has a lot of potential there.
Yep.
So set's looking really good so far, and I can't wait to see him start trickling in. I can't
excited
wait to
for
see.
Sealed.
I can't wait to see what they do with Sealed. Again, I'll never be excited for Sealed. I can't wait to play in pre-release, but I like to see how they do it. I think those 2 CP monsters, those have sealed superstars.
Oh, they're
all
going to be
over
really
them.
good in sealed. Yeah,
Yep.
they're going to be really good in sealed.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, I guess the next piece of news, there was like some tournaments that ended after we.
Yeah, so we had some tournaments that happened last week. I know when we recorded the last episode, we had we kind of tuned in on day one of the Italy Grand Open and the Seattle Crystal
Well,
Cup.
there was no day one stream of Crystal.
Yeah, there was no day one stream on the Crystal Cup, which was unfortunate. But that's okay because the Italy tournament was a fantastic one. So you can find those videos online. But day 2 ended with Ice Water Vikings winning.
Stefano.
Stefano. I'm gonna butcher his last name, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it. DePinto winning the Italy Open, defeating. Looks like he beat Mono Lightning in the finals, and I know he had a great set against Joshua Freeman Birch in semis, which I think ended actually at time. I think that went to time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure, and I think he won from time. I don't quote me on that, but I think that's what happened.
Yeah, and then the Seattle Crystal Cup was won by Brian.
Brian Berkeley, man, shout outs to Meta Potion.
Playing Ice Earth.
Yep, him and Okimoto were on the same deck, and
It was good.
Cali boys love that Ice Earth, man, and I can't hate them.
So there's 2 teams that have 3 buys. There's two Meta Potion guys, and then Team Jordan Dank, right?
Yeah, exactly. Team Canada with all that hockey hoogamaloo. And that bitch Ann Murray, too.
But yeah, I mean, 3 buys is a big deal. And he beat Azul, who's on Scions. Azul was, I think, previously unqualified. Another strong player that qualified.
Yeah, and his Scions are so strong. Why do I picture Jordan Dank showing up to Nationals looking like Lance Storm when he had all the championship belts in WCW? I love it. If I could be serious for a minute.
And then I guess the last little piece of news is the Indie Games tournament and then the Community Day. If we want to talk about those.
Yeah, so those 2 we had the 2 major ones last week that everybody's kind of seen the results on. We're a little late to the party on that one, but we have some things. We had some things happen this week and that are happening next week. Today we had our second Soldier Showdown tournament.
Yep.
So we just, I guess, keep in line with our timeline. We had that today. We had 14 people.
Yeah, it was 14, but it was stacked.
No,
14.
it was a
Half
big
the
14.
field was qualified for
Yeah,
Nats.
pretty much half our
so-
field was qualified for Nats, and Colin Rupert and Kevin. I'm terrible with his
Kevin
Withrow.
Yeah, Kevin Witherow came down from PA. Didn't even tell us they were
Well,
coming.
so Colin reached out to me on Twitter actually,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, can't wait, like, stream looks good and all this stuff. So I figured, they're just gonna be tuning
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
And I even told him, like, I tweeted back, I was like, hey man, like, anytime you want to come down, like, be glad to have y'all. It'd be cool. Like, I like coming out there to play. So
Yeah.
if y'all want to come down here, it'd be awesome. And I didn't know they were coming.
Sure enough, they did. I'm sitting there jamming some games with Judah, and I look over and I'm just like, rub the eyes, and I'm like, holy shit. So it was really cool. And then, so we had him and Kevin, who are both qualified. Curtis and Steven are both qualified. Spencer is also qualified. So 5 of the 14.
Danny.
Oh, and Danny. Oh, geez, Danny, because he kind of came and went today. Danny's qualified, so 6. 6 of the 14. So pretty much half the field was qualified. Colin ended up taking the whole thing. We had a really solid top 8. I finished top 4. I was on. Y'all didn't play. Y'all did the booth
I
today.
just commentated and ran the
We
stream.
were Joe Bucking it today.
Yeah, you did. Here, Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth. Oh, here's a guy. Colin Rupert won over Colin Coughlin, RVA shout out there. He was playing Wind Water Standard Units, a really, really top-notch deck.
Yeah.
And Colin was playing Curtis's Earth, Wind, Water Splash deck.
Dottalita is what he calls it.
Dottalita. It's a good deck. And obviously, Colin, he took his L's early and got into top 8 because he was the 6th seed. I was the 5th seed. He was the 6th seed. Won his top 8 match and then beat Curtis in top 4 and then lost to Colin in finals. I also went 2-2. I was the 5th seed going in, like I just said. I won my first 2 rounds of Swiss. Then I lost to Colin in Swiss. Then I lost to Corey on stream. Scions are good. Scions are such a good deck.
It's really good.
But then I had to play Corey again in top 8, and I was able to get games 1 and 3. Then I played Colin Rupert in top 4, and he just put the fucking wood to me, man.
I want to get you a foil Seraphy though.
Though
I want to get you a foil Seraphy.
Man, yeah. Well, that against Corey in top 8, when he played Seraphy, I was like, I think I just lose here because he could just get back at Yida, and that was a wrap. I was like, man, that was the card. That was the card that did it. But like I said, we got our rematch. I got my salty run back. Corey, he's getting better every week he shows up. Man, he's keep grinding out those Scions, my dude.
I've been really excited to watch him grow.
Yeah,
and play the game. So
I think he's a good addition. And then, like I said, Colin took it. Good. It was a great tournament. I love these Soldier Showdown. I think it's kind of our shtick now. That's what we've got.
Is it Showdown or Series? I feel like we call it
we've called it the same thing.
Well,
it's a Soldier S. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Soldier S. Yeah, Series Showdown. It's all the same.
Yeah. Tomato. All right.
Exactly, but it was good. So great time. We appreciate the Fredericksburg guys coming down, the Beach guys coming up, and then the PA guys coming down. Y'all drive safe back to your respective places. Danny, I didn't get to see you much before you left. I know y'all were trying to beat the weather's been shitty. Weather's been shitty on the East Coast right now. So
got a hurricane coming next weekend too.
That's what I'm saying,
Yay.
man. Yep. And speaking of hurricanes, next week we've got a community day coming.
I don't know
up.
why. I just pictured the wrestler.
Stand back! There's a hurricane coming through.
That was just it's sit thought, but it's okay. Continue.
But next week we have.
That's got to be the name of the episode, right?
Stand back! There it is. We love it.
You found it already.
maybe we could somehow get Hurricane Helms to. You should reach out to him on Twitter because I know he's still around.
Next time you come into the commentary booth, you gotta do the spin around.
That's right.
Yeah. I know they can't see us, but that's okay.
Oh, they saw my pants. They saw my pants today. But another event we have coming, I said we have our community day coming, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're doing that down at Pocket Games. We're going to do pauper tournaments. We're going to do gunslinger events.
I'm most excited about the gunslinger.
Dude, this is going to be fun. I'm going to play some real saucy stuff. We're going to have we're gonna just pile up some foils, give them away. We're gonna we really just want to encourage people that are new and old players alike.
Oh yeah,
if
everyone is welcome to.
Like if you play the game and you have a friend that's on the fence, bring them to our community day. We will, we're talking about building pauper decks with our bulk and just giving them to people. I think that's a really neat thing to do. It's just a good outreach. It's going to be a good time. It's and we're just doing it for the love of the community, and we want to maybe get some new faces. So anybody who's in the surrounding area near Poquoson, Virginia, it's a couple hours away from North Carolina, a couple hours away from more like Central Virginia. Please come on out. It'll be a great time. Even if you want to drive from further, just this community is great, and we want to keep it that way, and we want to just keep growing it as well. And speaking of great communities, there's another one up there in New Jersey. You have a great store up there, Envy Games. I know a lot of the PA guys and the Jersey guys. They kind of play a lot together. So
Yep.
a lot of familiar faces. Everyone knows what happened to them. They were robbed and lost a lot of product, and people have been giving back. So they got this tournament coming up, a behemoth of a benefit. Some may say.
It's going to be an upheaval of amazingness.
This guy, you're a monster. But yeah, it's going to be a good event. That's happening on Sunday the 16th. I want to say they've raised a lot of money. I know people have given them product. I don't really know much of the details. I know we've got a group chat that moves too fast for me to keep up with. I tell you what, these guys are all over it. So show your support. Reach out to them if there's anything you can do. They're a great group of guys up there, and all the community partners that are involved in it. Just great work showing that when something happens to one of us, we can all just kind of rise up and make the situation better. So look for that next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you can make it to the event, I highly recommend going, because not only will it be for a good cause, there's going to be some killer competition there. By the way,
and they have a 1K the day before.
Yeah, so there's 2 tournaments. So, if you want to make a weekend out of it, get on Expedia.com and...
Or just Airbnb that.
Ooh, good call. Good call. We have fun with those. Shout-outs to the Carolina boys. We have fun at Airbnbs.
How you doing, Rob?
Yeah.
Tell me about that giraffe, sir.
Exactly. So, yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff lined up. And then, leading into the events after that, last chance qualifier, Nats, all that stuff. So there's a lot happening.
Yep.
But speaking of a lot happening, I'm gonna.
What?
Did I miss something?
Well, I think you don't want to talk about the origin thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think that's the segue into it, though. That a lot has happened.
Yeah.
To get to where we are today.
It's true.
There's been a lot of work put in.
A lot of work, like I said initially, we were going to do like a recap, kind of an origin story episode. But I think Austin, go ahead and kind of take it away. We're gonna be beginning this with an article that you're writing.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think we've really wanted to get back to the community, we've kind of told the bits and pieces of our story, through the podcast and just through events that we've done as people have gotten to meet us. But we really wanted to put something together and have kind of like our little story, our little, etched in stone to see our origins. And I've been working on that article, and I'm really excited to get that out to kind of tell like how this all came about, and all the things that have actually like worked together, because there's so many pieces between me and Adam, and then you and Adam, Lane and Duncan, and just kind of all the communities that have come together. And there's been so many different threads of fabric that have been woven together to make this tapestry of the returners become a thing.
A ragtag bunch, some may call us.
You know what? That I think it all started with one treasure hunter himself.
It's true.
And it all just grew from there.
It is very, very true. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Also, you're gonna be working on that like this week. You said.
Yeah. So we've gotten a lot of work done on it. We're gonna do some editing. Gonna get it around, toss around, just make sure everything's in the right font format and all that good stuff. But be expecting that article probably near the end of the week. Next week,
so
right
be
before
a
we
good
do the community day event.
Right. So it'll be a nice little primer to kind of just give you, again, like you hit it right on the head, just to get that little extra special glimpse into the next episode we're going to do. So that's good. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about that. So the one thing I hate doing is I hate going from a positive to something that's not. I don't want to call it a negative. But it is an elephant in the room.
Hey man, sometimes you just gotta,
Yeah, so we missed covering this last week. I didn't mean to finish.
No, you're fine.
I didn't. We didn't talk about this last week because we kind of recorded early.
Yeah, it's the one time like recording on a Saturday like bit us in the butt because we. Oh, by the way, polio blankets, boys, put them on. It's nice and warm.
These legs were chilly in this back room. Don't worry,
we're good.
I'm warmed up now, sir.
Yeah. So the big thing that happened. Was the finals of the Seattle Crystal Cup went to time, and that's not just time, but like
it went to turns.
Yeah, it went to turns,
and then it went to sudden death.
Yeah, which, man, look, listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for timed rounds and Swiss. I don't think your finals of a tournament with 3 buys at your national event on the line should be timed.
Yeah. It kind of sucks. And again, I attribute this back to like I think it's still like a growing pain thing. Like, right?
Sure.
Like, this is like the
Absolutely.
first true year of like a competitive circuit.
At least in
game.
North America,
Yeah,
man, for
definitely.
real.
Yeah, I mean, last year all we had was Nats.
Yeah, and
That
Nats
was
was
it.
That was
like
just
a,
like people showed up. you know?
yeah.
So like, I think we should speak how we feel, but sometimes I feel like people go in real hard, and
Yeah.
like they're trying really hard, and the game's growing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a problem. It's an issue.
And it does suck too. Like if you were really counting on those buys, and like all of a sudden it's like, man, I could potentially win this turn, but I don't get that turn. It's the finals of an event. But at the same time too, like I said, it's not like this feedback isn't going unheard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going unheard either. Like, it just sucks to have that because it changes the way the game's supposed to be played, right?
Yeah.
Like when damage like that matters, like a Facility deck's gonna suck. Like for instance, I mean, it went the other way that day, but if I'm going to sudden death and you're playing Scions,
Oh yeah. I mean,
next
Yeah.
damage wins.
Yeah. Sweet. Any card I draw off the top, okay, you're dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
So-
not how you want to play.
So
the
it's
game.
kind of like it puts certain decks in an unfair position.
Yep.
Certain decks want to take damage early. They're like that by design,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes you not want to play those decks because if that happens, you're in an unfavorable
Yeah,
position.
and I hope because all of the rounds at nationals are timed, correct?
Correct.
So
Except for finals.
so finals for this one is
So yeah, I mean the obviously like, and I think Hunter touched on this a little bit. Like the biggest tragedy that could happen is if you get to top 16 and you're playing to go to London. Like that's a free London trip,
yep.
and you go to time sudden death and you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How shitty would that feel?
Especially when it's one of those things that like if the board state says you can't win this turn, but your opponent can't either, but they just happen to have more damage,
Yep.
or you just they happen to have taken less damage than you. But then if you had one more turn, it's like cool, I could have won right here. Like that feels terrible. That feels absolutely terrible.
It does. But I mean, I guess at the same time, like we kind of have, as much as I hate to say it, like we just kind of have to deal with it right now. It's too late in the game.
It is.
to change it.
It is.
Well, and it's,
But it is something that could change next year.
yeah, and that's the thing. I think you work through it now, right? You show how this can be this is a problem, to a larger scheme of it.
Mm-hmm.
You critique it correctly. You don't make it a flame war about it, and get
And
everyone
I think
up
that's
in
what
arms.
happens, unfortunately.
You
Sometimes.
try to be very careful about how you critique the game because we need to critique the game, right? We need to be talking to Square Enix and having that relationship to say, look, this is how we can make this game better and make it more playable for everybody. But you also, again, growing pains, man. You gotta cut those front teeth before the big ones come in, right?
Exactly.
So you just kind of take it, one day at a time and let it be what it is.
Yeah.
So,
And I guarantee you, it's not perfect this year. I'll bet you it'll be better next year, and it'll be better the year after
yeah.
that.
And it won't
the year after that.
won't be perfect next year either. That you can't really think it's going to be perfect.
well, I don't think the game's ever gonna be
No,
perfect.
it can't
Yeah.
be. I mean,
It can't
even
be.
I'm sure
Yeah.
like Magic has stuff down to the
Magic
science,
has
but
its
like
very fair share of issues,
but
for
it's
sure.
not like they don't have issues. So I mean, it's always going to be there. There's always going to be things, and as long as I feel like we like communicate them in the proper way, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and just don't be hurtful about it. I think that's the big thing. Like we all know when something is amiss,
Yeah.
but it's how we handle it. It's how we handle it as a community.
Yeah.
And we get better.
I guess I'll say one more thing. Like I think the biggest issue I don't know how many people are doing it or if anybody's doing, like we don't need to attack RB with these problems.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's happening.
Yeah.
Like I see people like tagging him and stuff. It's like we need to fix this. It's like
He has people. He doesn't make all the decisions.
yeah, it's not like RB is law. Like he has
Yeah.
people he works for, and Hobby Japan has they do things too. And so I feel like we just voice it in the right way, not like trying to attack people. It's the best way to get it done.
Yeah, I agree. Because you make yourselves look bad by doing it that way. I'm people are doing it, and I don't want to point out who it is because you knowing that you're doing it should be enough of a deterrent to stop doing it. Let's just try to grow the game better. Like I realize, we it's 2018. The world has become a very instant gratification kind of society. It just has, and we like to say the argument. Well, it's 2018. Magic's been around since '93. Well, granted, the technology is different. You should be able to do things right. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to work out the kinks. Magic has had 25 plus years to get it right, and guess what? They still don't have it right because you can't please everybody. And I think if you can just get what you want out of this game. Like if you're to the point where competitive play frustrates you, either hope that it gets better, and if it doesn't, then you can walk away, or just walk away now. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. I hate
also something we've talked about. Like, we now finally have real prizes, right?
Yes.
Like, for the first time, we have real prizes for Nats. But again, every other event, the Crystal Cups and stuff. I mean, if you're winning that, you got an invite to Nats, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got a binder of cards.
Yeah, you're getting.
That's what you're winning out of the end of it. Like, we're not talking about $50,000 cash prizes.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
stuff right
We're
now. Like,
traveling
this is about having fun.
It's a zero expenses paid trip to win a stuffed doll. I've said that before, and that's what competitive play is. I get it that we want to have a very top notch competitive scene. We want Oracle text. We want comprehensive rules. We want a judge program. But you have to let the powers that be, work it out themselves, but be vocal about the things that could improve. Don't say you don't like this is bad. Say, I think this could improve, and find out. Don't instead of bitching to RB, say, hey RB, who do I shoot this? Is there like a feedback line, an email, somebody that maybe it is you, RB, maybe it is a shoe, whatever it is you people eat. But I think going through the proper channels is how you need to do it. And at the end of the day, being an adult about it essentially is how it needs to be, because it is not perfect. I'm not saying let it slide.
It's about being productive and how you fix
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not
We got to be progressive and not just get stagnant on complaining about the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll all be better people for it, and we'll be a better game and a better community for it. So, we're not going to beat that horse into the ground. We kind of did, but it's been beaten for the last week.
Yeah.
But these are things that people care about. These are people are and I don't want to stifle anybody's passion, right? I'm glad that people are passionate about these issues, because I think ultimately they want to see the game succeed.
Yep.
But it's one of those, like when your parent when you got to spank him when you were a child. I'm doing this because I love you.
Exactly.
I understand that's probably the mentality they have, but that's just let's think it through before we start maybe being hurtful or start arguing with each other and on social media and things like that.
Yep. And I think the last small topic we wanted to cover before we kind of head out.
Yeah, this will be the kind of the we're blankets off. Let's fold them up. Let's
This is
save
a
those for next time.
interesting segment.
Yeah. So I know I've gotten this question before.
I have too, and this was given to us by I don't know. Curtis asked me out of the blue the other day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a couple weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, I think it has been a couple weeks, but I've also been asked by other people too. It's the game is getting more expensive. The secondary market, I'll say, is getting more expensive. And I think that's because more people are playing. So you have everybody's after these certain
the
cards.
demand's going up.
Yes, correct. And so the question I've had is do we think the game is getting too expensive?
And I guess we can kind of go around the table and answer that question. Austin, we'll go ahead and start with you, sir.
Personally, no. You've seen certain cards go up in value because those are good cards, and good cards are always going to be more expensive than bad cards.
Correct.
But again, I was coming from Magic, and I've seen winters of standard decks being $800.
Yep.
And that's the cost of a modern deck.
Yep. We're looking at you, Jason Vryn's Prodigy decks.
Give people access to 5 colors in a standard format and see what that does to the cost of lands.
Yep. Fetch lands and Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Trust me, that was a time. But I mean, again, even when we're looking at it, the biggest argument is always, that certain, you look at Wold or Estinian or cards like that, which you're going to see play. If you're in those colors, you just play it. It's a good card, you do it. Even still, at $20 a pop, $25 a pop, you've got, if you're playing a competitive deck for $120 or less, I don't really see that as that big a deal. And also, a lot of that value that's driven behind it too, it's actually starting to fold over to the foils now.
Yep.
Which makes sense. That's because before foils didn't really matter because there wasn't enough demand for everything. Now the cost of the game is really getting pushed over to people who want to have the swag and the flair of playing foils, and I'm cool with that. That's how games should be. And that also allows newer players to come in and get, if they pull a foil wall. Like, guess what? Well, here's $40 that I can trade, or do whatever I'm going to do with. And today on stream, you were watching that deck that Colin Rupert was playing. I mean, aside from the Zidanes,
I think the most expensive card is Yuna and Chaos Walker of the Wheel.
Yeah,
and they're
he had a Cloud of Darkness, maybe one or two. I mean,
yeah, that's like a $10 heroic or legend. It's a legend. $10, like $10, $15 legendary.
That deck might have been $70, $80.
Yep.
And that's only because of 5 cards, right?
Yep.
So if you take those cards out, maybe it becomes less competitive, but still, it's an easy deck to be able to run.
Yep.
Right? So I don't really think it's that bad either. And again, unlike every other card game, you're guaranteed to get value out of your box.
Yep.
I have never played a card game like this where I open a box of cards, open a box of Final Fantasy cards, and I don't either get close to my value and still have a lot of playable cards.
Yep.
Right? Unlike other games where you're
like Magic's a perfect example.
You get maybe lucky if you get 3 legendaries, maybe 4, right?
Yep.
You're guaranteed 9.
Yep.
Right now. You're guaranteed 9. You're getting at least 6 non and 3 foil.
Yep.
Sure, maybe you hit or miss on them, but you're going to get good cards no matter what.
Yep, and I think it's just smart distribution. And just to kind of echo off of what you said, I think when you look at if the game's getting expensive, you kind of have to take it in context, right? Like you and I feel the same way about Magic. Trust me, the cards in this game got nothing on Magic. And I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but I know some of those cards got stupid expensive too. So I think it really just depends on what your background is. Is the game more expensive than what it was? Yeah, I remember when Dada Luma was like 85 cents. That dude was an 85-cent heroic. Now, if you go to TCG Player, he's like a $13, $14 heroic. Alua, she was what, a $5 or
she was about $5.
Yeah, about $5.
People knew she was good.
Now she'll be pushing 20, probably in the next month. Now, granted, we talk about the secondary market. That could be a couple things. Well, one, we know the player base is growing, but also U.S. Nationals is coming up. People are buying these cards from these shops so they can test the decks. Because here's the thing, there are a lot of people who are like me. I don't collect the game. I buy the cards. Starting with Opus 6, I didn't buy any booster boxes because I have a lot of bulk from all the other sets. I was like, I'm just going to buy the singles I want to play, and that's it. So what happens is, and that's kind of a twofold thing. One, there's not as much product being opened, so these singles are becoming a little bit more scarce. So now the demand can't be met. And now when people do have these extras, they're going to sell them, oh wow, there's none here on TCG Player. Well, I guess I'll set the price here. This will be, $20. You kind of set you set the pace on it. And again, but also too, this is it's a trading card game. It is, trading card games and card games. They're luxury items, right?
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to make them too expensive. And I think Final Fantasy is in a place right now where it's still very attractively priced. And like you said, you can buy sealed product and get a ton of value out of it. Like a perfect example, if you want to play a competitive deck and not break the bank, buy a $14 Scion starter deck. Buy
3 cards.
Yeah, you could buy 3 copies of Heroic Y'shtola, who I think is still sitting around $4 or $5. Then you could spend $50 on 3 Aluas. You don't even need the walls.
I think Wool's more important than Alua. I do.
Either way,
in that deck,
you could literally go spend the $15 on that Scion deck, throw in 3 Y'shtola, and switch your backups.
I think if you want
more valuable backups.
I think if you want the cheapest competitive deck, you play Turbo.
Yep.
Yeah, you can play Turbo Ice for $50.
Yeah, well, more than that. The most expensive card in the deck is Genesis, and he's still sitting at about $25.
But guess what? That's about to be reprinted.
And he's going to be in a starter deck.
He's going to be in a starter deck.
We didn't even talk about that. That should have been in the news, I think, actually.
Yeah. Well, we can circle back around to that, or we can it's super relevant to this.
Yeah,
because not only are they reprinting Genesis, Vivi's in there. Those are and and Fat Chocobo's in there too, but Vivi and Genesis
are still a $12 backup.
That's like those cards alone already make that a really good value product for. And they did the same thing in Magic when they would make these like dual decks. Oh wow, there's a Path to Exile in here, or there's
Here's
know.
a Windswept Heath. Give me a fetch for $15.
I think it's
Exactly.
I think it's gonna raise the price of foils of those cards, but it will
Which again,
bring down the price.
Well, we don't know if they're alt arts or not.
Maybe they are, but I doubt it. I would seriously doubt that they are.
But again, if it raises the price on foils, that hurts no one
It doesn't.
except for the people who want foils.
Yeah, foils is even more of like a.
It's a
first-
luxury of a luxury.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, my thoughts.
Unless you're Max Williams, because you love him.
Yeah, my thoughts on it is like this. Like, I've played another card game before that wasn't Magic. That was probably a little bit more popular than this game, and we talked about it a lot.
Versus
and it's not even like that much more bigger than like it was. I guess it was a little bit bigger. It had like an actual system, like a competitive system at the time.
Yeah. It was
but
run
like-
by Upper Deck, who they already had the
So-
Yu-Gi-Oh systems in place, so they had something good going on.
Yeah.
there.
So first off, most other card games are 60 card decks.
Yep.
Most other card games, your playsets are 4. In this game, your playset is 3.
Which I am spoiled by, now, by the way.
So like, let me an example, right? I played Versus when the first set dropped, and I started playing competitively like when the second set dropped. There was a card called Savage Beatdown, right?
Yep.
It was literally a generic. It went in like every deck.
Yep. It was
Okay,
a generic, the best attack
And
pump you could have.
it was
in
a
the game.
rare. Yeah, it was just a rare attack pump.
Because there were no mythics, it was just common, uncommon, rare.
Non-foil rare, $50, and you needed 4.
Yep. So
Nothing in that game, nothing exists in this game that's even remotely close to that.
Yep. Wall is about the closest, but the thing is, Wall doesn't go in every deck. Some may
Yeah.
argue that, but Wall does not go in every deck.
And that's the thing, though, too. There's so many different decks that you can play.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to play an Earth deck, you still don't have to play Wall.
Yeah.
It's true.
You probably should.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, like what Adam was saying. Like if you wanted to play a deck, you're looking at $200 right off the top
Yeah,
before you start
for-
building the deck.
For 4 cards.
Yep.
And then, like, I mean, we came in at a time, like, when we started playing for real, competitively. And no card was, like, $20 was the most expensive card, and that was Shantoto.
Yep.
I think, like, Renault and Shantoto were, like, $20, $21 when we
Yep.
first started playing. Like, competitively. Like, I mean, obviously, we played beforehand. And, like, that was crazy to me. I was like $60, and I get a playset of, like, what's considered the best card in the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not even 2 Savage Beatdowns.
Yeah.
$60.
It barely gets you 1.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and don't even think you're going to get a good. You know what $60 will get you? It'll let you look at a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
yeah.
Yeah. It'll let you look at one in the glass case.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, to me, it just means that the game's getting more popular, and it means as a competitive player, it excites me more than anything. It does suck, like, when you want to try to, like, get all these cards and you're seeing these prices get jacked up on certain cards, but, like, that's just kind of part of how it works. And it also will force people to not buy singles as much and try to get boxed product.
Yeah. It's
which will sell the game more. It'll sell more
Agreed.
product.
Agreed. And now I kind of want to get back into having the bulk so I can create stuff for the community.
Yeah.
Pauper decks. and
I just
stuff for
like
people.
having everything at like my fingertips.
Yeah. And
So-
I should be more like that, but I'm not a.
There's nothing wrong with either way.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people. I hate clutter. I hate having the amount of stuff that I
See,
have.
I hate throwing things away. So like I like to have like I have my binders, right? So like it just makes it easier for me. But,
And to put to put it all into perspective, I saw this. Somebody showed me this thing today that it was Vince, and apparently a Magic Alpha Mox Sapphire is worth more than an actual sapphire of the same weight.
Wow.
Think about that for a second.
I mean, a Black Lotus is worth what?
Yeah, one sold at
20K.
auction. One sold at auction for like $86,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
wow.
So a very 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 nice car.
Yeah. So like
Several
Maybe an actual Lotus?
Several down payments on a house.
Yeah. So when you think about the price of a game, So, and I get it. Not everybody's on the same budget. Like I live on a budget. I work 40 hours a week, but that doesn't mean I can just, I don't, make it rain everywhere that I go. But at the same time, this game is very budget friendly. Like
I agree.
it's like because one big investment. Like if you have like your initial, like I think if you're getting into this game and you want to get the power cards, take that initial investment, buy yourself 3 Wolves, 3 Genesis, 3 Shantoto, and the rest will just fall into place.
Yeah. I would hold off on the Genesis stuff.
Well, yeah, I keep forgetting those things are
Put 'em
being
on
reprinted.
Genesis.
But Wall, Shantoto, and maybe 3 Aluas.
Yeah.
Get those, and then look at that. You've already got half of a Scion deck.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think I think just overall the game's in a good place from a finance standpoint. We don't have to get your brother back on the Mad Money with Andrew Lane.
Again, if we ever get to a point where we start seeing non-foil cards around $40 or $50, then we have something to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
If your rarest cards in the game are topping at $20 to $25 because they're extremely playable.
Well, I think isn't non-foil Wall like pushing 30?
Yeah, he's like 28, 20.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
pushing, but
but
that's still it's an exception to the rule.
Yeah, that's an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Like, I don't find that bad at all.
But then you can also just go buy an Opus 5 box for $89. You could potentially get 2 out of the box.
Yeah,
Yep, and you're probably going to make your money.
Correct.
because that's the thing too. You can get stuff online for cheaper.
Alua's in that box, too.
Yeah, so
Turns out Alou was in that
But,
box.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've kind of covered everything. That's a good place to stop. I do thank everybody for tuning in. Austin, I can't wait to see the article. I know you've asked you've kind of asked us all the hard hitting questions, origins, and things like that. So can't wait to talk about that next week. And we're working on the giveaway that we're talking about doing.
Yeah, I need to do that. I mean, we hit 200 subscribers, and we need to celebrate that.
Yeah, 200 subscribers, 25 episodes of our podcast, hopefully followed by many, many more.
Oh yes,
It's
25 years.
I want to get to 25 years. It'll be great. We'll have plush dolls of us holding a little shield that says 25 years. Nobody wants a plush doll of me on their shelf unless it's wearing these pants. Yeah. So thanks for listening as always, Austin. Thanks for being here. Adam, always a treat.
Yeah.
Signing off.
See you later.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening once again to the RVA Returners podcast. If you like this content and you want to hear more, check us out on YouTube at RVA Returners, and make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and check us out on Google Play and iTunes.